Sport 2, it's the social. Sam Ellard and Flex from the United View with you until 5 o'clock. We're obviously now going to talk all things Man United. Basically, you're still not very good at football, are you?
Well, no, that wasn't going to change in the last time I
Brentford,
spoke to you,
dreadful.
Yeah.
Chelsea, dreadful.
Liverpool still couldn't beat us. Dreadful.
Liverpool, absolutely appalling. You know that. You are the luckiest team in the country. Once again, we went to your backyard. We absolutely hammered you.
And left not victorious.
I agree with you. I'm absolutely admitting that we once again didn't take our chances and we were wasteful. Is there a worse set-up team in the country than Man United in terms of tactics, coaching, gaps between midfield and defence? You're all over the place.
All over the place.
I've got no idea how you're sick from the table.
I've got no idea how the best manager ever, and Jurgen Klopp, couldn't find a way to beat this awful Man United.
Do you know what? Honestly,
it's terrible.
We bang on about this league being the best league in the world. You're the sixth best team in the league, apparently. You've got to be. It's a Farmers League, huh?
Table doesn't lie.
I know, so I'm saying that's how bad this Premier League is. If you're the sixth best team in it.
You sounded very angry that you couldn't get over the line against.
I can't believe we played you 3 times a season.
Yeah, but had something like 7-0, mate. You've not beat us.
We've had something like 100 shots against you. How many haven't beaten you once? Shots, How is that possible? How is that possible?
Because you can't finish against
us.
And we're clinical, very efficient with our chances.
Yeah, you are. No, seriously. I mean, come on, Brentford. Let's be honest. You were lucky. You were lucky there. Shocking. Chelsea. I mean,
that was just two awful teams going at it. Honestly, when I was watching that, it was laughable the quality that was on show in terms of how transitional it was. Both teams just giving each other the ball. I was just more fuming with that because actually, from being 2-0 down, and again, Chelsea are not a good football team. No. So they gave Manchester United of all teams chances. It was like 17 shots each up until the latter stages, and then Chelsea sort of, did what they did. So that was just two really, really poor teams showing how bad they are in those moments. But Chelsea are worse, honestly. I really do. Then they just go and draw to Sheffield United straight away. It's just typical. We allowed Chelsea fans to stay inside Stamford Bridge after full-time partying. They leave early normally. That Pochettino was about to get driven out of Southwest London. Like, honestly, like from 2-0 up, if they would have lost that, which was on the cards, which should have been on the cards with 4 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, whatever it was. But then Manchester United, I know, we'll save a bullet for ourselves. We'll shoot ourselves in the foot every single time. And the one before that, Brentford, absolute disgrace.
I don't know how you got a point out of that game.
And then again, the mentality of not deserving anything, rightly so, because Brentford couldn't finish their dinner, which they should have done. Yeah, should have been another 4-0 like it was last season. But to be winning again with minutes to go and not get over the line, mentality awful.
Flex, there's been a lot of talk about Erik ten Hag and in particular his style of play, right? Like there was a stat on, I think I mentioned to you on last week's show about how you faced the most shots out of any team in this league since January, right? That's 4 months into the year. It's quite a bad stat, especially when you think of, again, you're sixth in the table. You shouldn't be that high up on that stat list. And I think his style of play in particular has come under question over the last couple of months. And kind of, we've all seen the pictures on Twitter of kind of the big gaps in the middle of the park from midfield to defence to attack. Is he a bad football coach? Is that the reason why you guys are set up like that? Because he's a bad coach and not doing his job properly? Or is it a case of he just doesn't have the players yet for him to implement that style of play?
No, I don't think Ten Hag's almost become a bad coach overnight.
Then why are you set up so badly?
I think there's a mixture of his stubbornness and a learning curve that he needs to address. There also is, at this level, it's a different level to Ajax. It's a different level to the Eredivisie. And I think that he's been under an identity crisis from trying to play these contrasting styles that amalgamate to zero style, in my opinion.
But then 2 years into the job, Flex, he now not have to be doing better.
Yeah.
Adapt, surely.
Yeah, Manchester United fans, we should be seeing more in terms of how the team is set up. But I do see, because there's a large portion of the fan base, and it's important to look at all areas as to why things are going wrong. There is a large portion of the fan base that I see that say, well, look, managers make mistakes, managers learn. He had a good first season. This is going to go down as a bad second season. It happens. Everything's about to change above him. Less emphasis is going to be placed upon him in terms of finding players, recruiting players, etc., etc. He is better as a coach than a manager. Are Ineos looking at it like they will allow him under a new regime to see how he does? Yes, injuries have been a problem for everybody, absolutely. But you cannot take out the fact that Manchester United, in terms of the back line and what you want to do, where you want to build up from, has been changed the most in the league. So many injuries. And on top of that, the development of Kobbie Mainoo has been very good.
Garnacho.
That's down to him. The development of Garnacho has been very good. Højlund, you can see, is a work in progress. Martinez has been unfortunate with injuries. Mason Mount, the plan was to get him in. We haven't even got to see what that plan is because he's been injured all season, only just come back now. So I can see why some fans are like, just stick with it, be patient. It's horrible now. At the beginning of the season, he didn't want Scott McTominay there. He didn't want Maguire there. He was supposed to be gone. He wanted a striker. And ended up having to pay 65 million for Højlund, but he wanted to, couldn't get it. In the January just gone, couldn't afford it, had to bring in Wout Weghorst. There's so much wrong at the football club that needs to change, and more changes happening. It's spinning loads of plates, isn't it? Do you choose to stick with it and see how it goes to Christmas and change everything around him in the recruitment, sell players that need to be sold, get rid of Deadwood and give him better players? Or do you say, you spent over 400 million. We should be seeing better than this. You've had one good season, one bad season, and Ineos are going to make a lot of changes already. So it's better that they change it all now and start from a blank canvas. I get both sides.
But you're saying on Wednesday, April the 10th, at 4:42, you're happy for Ten Hag to give him more time with the structure above him more.
If they did that,
better,
they did that, and I am acutely aware. I'll be deadly honest with you, Sam. I'll be deadly honest with you. Never have I ever recently been as like. I don't know as
You're
much
on the
as
fence,
this.
aren't you?
Sometimes I'm like, yeah. After the Chelsea game,
I think we'll keep between the job flex.
I was there. I was saying, no, rip it up.
Okay, what's changed in 4 days?
And then in 4 days, I went, I can't see what people are saying about just be patient and things are going to change and give him a chance under the new structure. I'm indifferent.
Okay.
I am.
Well, more things are changing upstairs in the last 24 hours. Man United's football director, John Merc, has stepped down after more than 10 years in the role, with Newcastle's Dan Ashworth set to be appointed. Co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe thanked Merc for support and integrity during a period of transition for the club. What does this mean for the club, Flex? Merc stepping down.
It's big, and these are the things that a lot of fans would rather focus on in terms of what's wrong at the club and what needs to change before you get to the managers. That's some people's opinion. It's massive. John Murtough's been at the club 10, 11 years, and has been part of a failing ship, making big decisions along with others, and not just him, that hasn't worked. And Ineos have come in and established the right guys to do the job and are completely changing it. And these are the right steps in the right direction the club need to be making. Getting rid of people who haven't been good in their positions or, weren't under good leadership themselves, which subsequently led to bad decisions, and going into a new era of Manchester United, a new look Manchester United, people who are the best in class, people who do have very good CVs, and out with the old, in with the new. It doesn't mean that Manchester United are back and it's all perfect, but it's another indication as to how serious Ineos are taking this in such a short space of time to get everything in place.
I also think another thing that is going to help Ten Hag is the lack of really good options that are out there. We spoke earlier when Alfie was in doing the papers about Amorim and how I thought about that, and I was a bit like, I'm not sure because I'm not sure who else out there is better. I think a lot of fans are like you. They're a little bit. They're still not sure about Ten Hag. And if there was a Jurgen Klopp out there, obviously then it becomes a lot easier. But I do think because of the lack of alternatives, that definitely works in Ten Hag's favour.
I think it is.
Is that fair?
That's what a lot of the reports are saying as well. And also what works in Ten Hag's favour, I think, from an Ineos perspective, is the fact they haven't assembled that team yet. So those decisions are going to be very much left to Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, whenever he arrives. And they haven't got there yet to make those decisions. And what I like about the situation, to a certain extent, is the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not just going, well, I'll just decide. He wants the people who are the real football people to make the proper decisions. So that is definitely giving Ten Hag a level.
So who do you think will have the final say? If Ten Hag stays or goes, who has the final say, do you think?
I think
the absolute final say. Do you think it still is Jim Ratcliffe? Or if people below him, if Ashworth's in positions,
I think it's a group. I think Omar Barada will be right at the top. He's going to be the new CEO of Manchester United.
But if he comes in and says Ten Hag's gone, I don't want him, do you think Ratcliffe goes, okay, no worries?
Not just as easy as that, but I think that I do think that would be a huge cosign into that happening for sure. And the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have left it very open to interpretation. If they wanted Erik Ten Hag, all they have to do is come out and say, to squash all this, is listen, We're backing the manager. There's a lot of change at the club. We believe in him. It's going to be a big summer, and we want to, assemble this team to take Manchester United forward. But the fact that they've gone, I don't want to talk about the manager right now. It's not about that. It's about X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
they're being very smart.
Buy themselves a bit of time, aren't they?
Absolutely, which is the right thing to do.
One other thing, by the way, what's happened to Casemiro? His legs have gone. He can't move. He can't run.
I don't think he can't run. I don't think he was ever able to run, to be honest.
Oh no, but in particular, he's being found out more this season than last season.
I think because again,
people are going past him like he's not even there.
But our midfield's way more open than it was last year. Tactically and how we're being set up, we are facing a record amount of shots this season. That is the biggest difference between this season and last season. So he hasn't necessarily changed, I don't think.
I know this isn't new, but what about, I know you're very close with Rio Ferdinand, aren't you? Hanging out with him all the time, going for dinners, WhatsApping each other and all that. What did you make of, because he did stick to football, didn't he, the other week? And he spoke about Marcus Rashford, and then Rashford's brother kind of put up an Instagram post, didn't he, where he kind of slagged him off a little bit. What did you make of all that, Flex? Rashford's brother having to go at a club legend, just everything around Rashford just seems a bit like, his brother, keep your mouth shut. What are you getting involved for? Shut up.
I just think it proves the point of what Rio and Gary Neville and others on the podcast, Stick to Football podcast, were alluding to. What sort of environment is he in? His family looks after him, and that's usually a good thing, that they've got their best interests at heart. But I just think there's too much talking when there doesn't need to be. It's like he's not playing very well. It just doesn't come across well when your brother is going on social media and they're not naming names, but we know who you're talking about. But
if I was Marcus, I'd be like, bro, what are you doing?
You're just making it worse for me.
Exactly.
Just, and then Marcus himself has a lot to sort of undo and to get back into form.
That's like not Marcus's fault, is it? Marcus is just trying to work hard on the pitch. And bro,
I just don't think it helps.
If my sister did that, she was like, on talkSPORT 2, what's Flex talking about with that row about the penalty? I'd be like, shut up, Sophie. Keep it shtum. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't help, does it?
It doesn't help, does it? Flex, good stuff.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.